You came in just as I was about to talk about red, white angels, and you're my angel.
You're disgusting.
She's so mean to me. All right, so red, white skies, red, white angels, whatever you want to call it. Resplendent Angel, Feather Redeemed.
Chat's looking a little full. I don't think you're practicing your social distancing very
Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice. Anybody in chat need to be social distance, just let a mod know and we'll take care of it for you. Lyra Dawnbringer, giving everything flying here together. I actually think there's a chance that this deck could be okay against the Field of the Dead decks, because we have Deafening Clarion in the main, as well as Flame Sweep post-board to clean out their threats while we fly over the top. As a father of a daughter and another soon-to-be, put this towards Huglet. Thanks for the biddies, J-Ray. Hope everything goes well for you and yours in these crazy times. We have Feather, since we're playing red-white angels, and we have Reckless Rage, which is just a good removal spell that also happens to synergize really well with this card. We've also got a couple of God's Willings in the sideboard, as well as protection, and then we've got Adanto as a resilient ground threat that we can save through Deafening Clarion, and then Bishop's a cheap threat, or cheap defensive card that allows us to, that survives through Clarion. So let's go ahead and hop on into some matches with this and see how it goes. I'm in a workers' compensation psychotherapy program, and workers' comp is lagging behind that if I don't show up, I lose my benefits. Yeah, they really need to start making exceptions for things like that. I heard other issues. Apparently there's issues with some for veterans who get their school paid for through a veteran because they were a veteran. If classes go digital, they lose some of their grant money, which is awful. Are there not temples in my deck? I thought there were temples in my deck. Oh, you're totes right. There aren't temples. They're probably fine. I have a couple of Psycho lands. I don't know, that's actually an interesting discussion. Are temples or Psycho lands better in this? I think the Psycho lands might be better too. It's tough though, right? So like the Psycho lands are much better when you draw them late. So like, what I'm about to say sounds great while I have this and 2 mountains, but the number of white sources in this deck should be fine. What do we have? We've got 10, 18, 19. All right, maybe we are 1 light. 20 to 21 white sources is probably where we want to be. Hey, thanks, Fun Bob. I appreciate the support. Land War Elves is interesting. I feel like Land War Elves probably implies that they're a little bit less likely to be field, but could have that in a field deck. You're lacking in older sets. I would recommend buying, if you're going to start buying older sets to fill out more wild cards, my #1 recommendation would be picking up sets that have the check lands in them, which I believe is Dominaria and then one other set, but I don't know 100% which ones they are. So the ones that have Sun Petal Grove and stuff like that, Clifftop Retreat, would be my recommendation. Dom and Ixalan, okay. They're probably dead here. I don't think we can afford to stumble. There are 26 lands in this deck. Of course there's 26 lands in this deck. Oh, feels magic, man. Feels Magic the Gathering, man. The truth is out there, sheeple. The shuffler's as rigged as the earth is flat. I probably want Justice Strike for Questerson, actually. You didn't protest vote for Yang. Voting for someone who's not running, and I'd argue even voting for someone that doesn't have a realistic shot at winning instead of somebody who has a shot, is a protest vote. This is the definition of a protest vote. Your vote was effectively the same as abstaining from voting. And whatever mental gymnastics you need to jump through to justify that to yourself, like you do you, but try not to, I'd encourage you not to lie to yourself. I think if you voted in one of the first 4 primaries and you voted for Yang, that was reasonable, especially when he was still running. But trying to justify voting for someone who dropped out of the race as it not being a protest vote is just nonsense. You want God's Willing versus Questing Beast? Yes, I'm boarding in, that's a good question. I'm boarding in God's Willing here because I want to use it to protect from removal spells. Hey, Silifarian, thanks for the 29 months. Welcome back. Really hoping to draw a 2 or 3 drop creature. I didn't elect to play Resplendent Angel. I like to play Resplendent Angel on 3 because I wanted to Reckless Rage and kill the Wild Growth Walker as soon as possible. Obviously, removal spells pretty punishing. Yeah, we're super dead. Natural Hunter of Angel decks. Doesn't Questing Beast can't cancel out God's Willing? Questing Beast, while it's in play, stops the prevention part, damage prevention part of protection. It does not stop protection from, stopping your things from being targeting, and they're also just not going to always have a Questing Beast in play, is another part of it. Honestly, Fox, I'd be really surprised if it's better than just playing 4 Cavalier. Oh, there's also the unblockable aspect of protection as well. All right, 2, 3, 4, let's do it. But then I have to change the name of the deck. Fair. It's a tough beer. Tough sell. Social distancing is hard. I feel like I've spent all of my adult life preparing to social distance, chat. In fact, there's been stretches where when I've had kids, where when I would leave the house, Declan would just be like, oh, you're going to the gym, right? Because, like, that would be the only time I'd ever leave the house. If you asked me to describe my ideal vacation, it would probably be something similar to this, but with less the world is ending outside of me. This is a heck of a curve against Gruul here. So far, this deck has felt like a bad feather build. That's really lazy. I think so far we haven't really gotten to play Magic based on how we've drawn. I think any comparisons to anything other than that are unreasonable. This is a good example of why good traditional curves like this tend to not be good against cleave and these aggro decks. I feel like the subset of decks that this kind of deck really could prey upon once upon a time don't really exist in Magic currently. Like, I feel like these bigger decks tend to really prey on, like, small edges aggro decks, and the aggro decks don't win by edges anymore, right? They win by miles. This we were able to, honestly, Bishop was able to life gain us out of it there, so maybe we're okay here. Should our deck be playing cleave? I don't know. I feel like the answer to that is no. We might be interactive enough that we're still okay here. There's an easy Adanto Vanguard out matchup. I think I want these for killing cleave. That's fair. Yeah, I think that's accurate. We don't really have enough cheap creatures for cleave. I don't want the 4th Clarion here. What part of Yang's platform was compelling? I think the fact that he was just speaking the truth about automation, sculpting, and changing what our country is going through right now. I think that was accurate, and the fact that that was factual resonated with a lot of people. Under Yang's proposed implementation of UBI, no one who received benefits that were more than UBI had those benefits cut. So if you got more than whatever UBI was giving everyone, you still kept that under his platform. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now. So that way, they can't, like, stomp this to finish it off. And I can block their 2/2 if I want to. I don't want to. I think keeping this to gain life with it's more important. Gruul is busted. I think Gruul is good. I think it's one of the better aggressive decks in the format. Now, I think I just want to go Cave plus this and then next turn I can go land, Lyra, gain 4, attack, gain 4, make an angel, gain another 4 at end of turn. If I no blocks and they cleave, I'll take 10, 13. So I'm dead to cleave shock. No blocks. Rimrock would kill me too. That's a good point. Didn't think about that. It's fine. YOLO. Crunch. Trigger. Go. Your move, Yugi boy. This is all we got. Casual, gain 12s. No big. What if I just, like, throw this in front of here? I think that's the plan. Just, like, go to 7. Lyra is quite a champion. Is this lethal? Yeah, you're totes right. It is, right? Is it a mistake that there's not 4 Lyra in our 75? It's probably a mistake that there's not 4 Lyra in our 75, huh? I don't know that I need all 4 in the main deck, but I feel like against Skrull, it's just like the best possible card at all times. What is Spyglass good against? Anybody know? Like, what is this card good against in this format? Can anybody sell me on it? Game Arcane, thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. It's not good against Teferi. They just bounce it. It's like fine against Nexus, I guess. Hey, Renegade Egg, thanks for the quarter of a year. Nissa still doubles their mana. I don't hate the idea of Fry. Fry is good against Kisis. It kills all their stuff that you care about. Alright, let's do it. Sure. Yep. Bottom of mountain here. Yeah. Fry is also decent against mono white. Agree. I like how all the color hate cards are basically good against Kisis because they have so many colors. Yeah, in fact, a big part of why I think Kisis is such a fine deck to have in Historic being a combo deck is there's so many points of interaction in it. Have any exciting deck ideas I want to build around? I don't think I have any that aren't already waiting to be built. Like, if you look at the Historic queue, there's a number of good ones waiting in there. It's just a matter of having time to get to them. We have a Reclamation deck here, speaking of. I forgot how sweet this card is. This is such a good anti-control card. It's just so well designed. Does Kisses get better in theory for to add Kamigawa lands? Maybe. Like, the deck doesn't play a lot of basics because it's a 4-color deck, so it's kind of a tough sell. Life waxes and wanes. I also have fond memories of Adanto Vanguard because it makes me remember when mid-range was playable in Standard. Oh, mid-range. Oh, mid-range. So we'll mentor this, or we'll pump this, and then we can mentor onto that one. I think we're supposed to kill Tamiyo there. A little unfortunate that we drew these. These are probably just blanks game one. Mid-range is the picture Wolverine is looking into, sadly for me. Yeah. I am a child of combo winter. What is this mid-range you speak of? It's dark and full of terrors. So, fun fact about Adanto Vanguard here. Adanto Vanguard is actually an example of a card that they designed with digital in mind. This is not a trigger. If you look, it never goes on the stack. It just gains the extra attack while attacking. And they actually had an article talking about how this is explicitly templated in this way to not be a trigger, so it makes digital magic flow more smoothly, so there's not a prompt to click through when the card attacks. One of those like little things where it's like, this is a good thing to pay attention to because it makes the digital experience just more pleasant when they pay attention to it. Ay, 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 do 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 do. If I put Aurelia on Adanto Vanguard, it would have killed Tamiyo by itself and then done 2 to them. Yes, that is a good thing to point out. They'd have been dead on board if I did that. Yeah, so I'd be attacking for lethal this turn if I had sequenced that way, right? I didn't think about that at all. I could have, this would have attacked for 6 and killed Tamiyo, and this would have gone 2 here, and then they'd attack for 8. Yeah. Yeah, if we lose this game, 10 out of 10 could have won. And there's a good chance we don't get another turn because they're gonna flip. No, it only gains trample if it's red. It always gains 2 attack. It wouldn't have worked for the first hammer, but it would have worked for the second. And I only needed to do it to the second because they ended at 2 here. So the first time I needed to mentor, so I needed to target this, but the second Tamiyo I could have killed. And now that they've got this flip search, there's a good chance I don't get another turn. So I definitely could have won this game 1 if I'd have seen that correct sequence. Yeah, we're dead here. One of the things on display in this game too, in addition to me punting, like obviously the mistake is bad, but something else to note is my hand at the end of that game is a good example of why Nexus of Fate is banned in Best of 1. Because if you look at all the cards that were left in my hand there, they were a bunch of just blanks, right? And I'm getting to bring in some cards that are meaningful interaction out of the sideboard, but a lot of these Nexus decks require very specific pieces of interaction. I'm going to leave Clarion in because it can give lifelink to power up Resplendent Angel. And if they're on Nissa post board, it can clear out her lands. Our Bant or Temur Nexus deck, still good in Historic. What decks beat them? I think they're poor against both Kisis combo and Breach combo. I think those combo decks are faster than they are, and the Nexus decks aren't particularly interactive. Ergo, Proxy, thank you for the 21 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Stoke the Flames. That could be a sweet one. That was a phenomenal draw. Let's just curve right on out here. Thanks for the link, Golden Ringer. If you're on Discord, you should post it in the COVID channel there. We're gonna bottom this. I'm gonna try and curve 4 or 5 here. The White House expressed support for emergency UBI. Is this the upside down? No, it's not the upside down. That's just how catastrophically bad things could stand to get here. The Wargy Corgi. Thanks for the biddies. I'll get that after we're done today. Republicans want to give everybody money for doing nothing. They want to give normal people money, not corporations. If that doesn't convince people that this needs to be taken seriously, I don't know what will. What you're doing is not okay, and I need Heliod to intervene. My friend. Have I mentioned that that card's great? Have I mentioned that that card is great? Alakane, thank you for the third of a year. Welcome back. This is a mulligan, right? I just ideally want a 2 or 3 in our opener. Here's my Bezos Twitcher enjoying the COVID lockdown, playing Yarok Field and Heart Angels. Thanks for third of a year. Holy guacamole tacos. You will have a sword for your birthday, at least. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm gonna bottom Clarion. No good pressure here, but a little bit of interaction. Perfect. All right, now I just need to draw some lands so we can group out. This is hands down our best turn 2 play in this matchup. Not close. Just like we drew it up, chat. Just like we drew it up. You love to see it. Uro is unfortunately bigger than Fry. Why do we have a Demystify and 2 Intervention in the sideboard? Well, I mean, Demystify is in my deck, so I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you asking why the split? Because the reason for the split's very easy to explain. So, cards like Demystify and Intervention have similar impacts, or have similar effects, not similar impacts, have similar effects. And by having cards that do similar things but are slightly optimal in different ways, you allow your deck to have different edge cases where you end up with better results. So like, for example, last game, Heliod's Intervention was much better, but in a game where we're really mana tight, Demystify can be better. Oops. Thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. This does, unfortunately, unlock Uro, but at the same time, we hit the land, so we're going to get to Binding Uro next turn, which is nice. I'm a 3-mana giant who don't die to fraud, don't die to fraud, don't die to fraud. Will the Oko rap remain the single greatest Magic accomplishment of this channel? I feel like there's a strong chance that that's true. The Pizza Leagues. Thank you for the 23 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. All right, sure. So this, like, technically... Oh, they must have another Uro in their hand, huh? Sheriff Wiggles. Thanks for the big tip. I appreciate the support. It would definitely put it till tomorrow. And yeah, definitely. Thanks for keeping me around. We did, Ashworld. In my opinion, that is a sign of how truly screwed we could be. Yuck! Thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. And as someone who's capable of showing, I don't just hate everything Donald Trump says, just the hateful, bigoted things that come out of his mouth and the lies, which is a lot of what he says. Him wanting to give money to everyone during this crisis is the correct thing to do. That needs to happen so people can have income to live while we appropriately shut down all non-essential businesses in this country. If your business is not necessary for people to live, it should be shut down and people should be staying home. That is the only way we can get through this without overwhelming our critical care facilities in the United States. Switch from Prime Germany to Prime Netherlands. Had to resub for month 11. Thanks for keeping me up, Necker. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think I want to put this on the bottom. If we draw an Aurelia, we can kill them. How do the logistics of sending checks to everyone work? I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can finagle it. You can do it in the form of like a tax credit. You can do it. There's a lot of different ways. I'm not gonna Google it. There's probably good discussion in the subs Discord about it, I'd imagine, at this point. My state is in a state of emergency. Yes, most companies are not going to shut down until they're forced to, and it's hard for them to justify forcing it if they're not paying people. If they have an explosion here, we're probably dead, huh? Or close to it. Like, we're going to be effectively dead. Ooh, that's true. Yeah, the IRS always sends people money. Although not me. My job is all 1099 work, so I give the IRS money every year. I do not have Thalia in my sideboard. That's probably a good suggestion, huh? The fact that I have Deafening Clarions and Fries in my deck right now is kind of medium. Some Thalias is probably a good suggestion. We were so close. We were so close. How much can this gain, actually? There aren't any instants up here. God's willing might punch through here. I wonder how many streamers have been caught for tax fraud. I gotta imagine it's not many, because the bulk of your money streaming comes through Twitch. Which, Amazon reports all that. Supermarkets need to stay open. Well, there's the Nexus of Fate, so we're dead. I think the Nexus of Fate probably means we lose. Chance for Glory. I think I'd rather just have more cheap threats rather than playing bad cards that are individually weak, like Chance for Glory. Why isn't Nexus a sorcery? Because R&D is bad at their job sometimes. This is probably... Actually, here's an interesting question. Which is the more offensive miss? Once Upon a Time or Nexus of Fate? Discuss. Which of those cards should have been more obviously not okay? See, I think there's a lot of like, I think both of those cards should be very obviously not okay.
Let us see if your talents are worth cataloging.
I think it's close. Like, there are a lot of people saying both in chat. Like, all right, we're dead. I don't know. I think it's easier to say a free spell is a design mistake than it is to say a 7-mana spell is a design mistake. That's where I think it's close. Like, I agree Nexus is probably more obnoxious, but I also think it's easier to think an obnoxious card could potentially be okay because it's really expensive. Yeah, I think there's also an argument to be made Nexus of Fate is largely fine outside of Wilderness Reclamation, whereas Once Upon a Time is just busted everywhere in every green deck. It's just silly. They tack down the never touches the graveyard clause. Is where Nexus takes it for me. Yeah, that's fair. I think I want some Thalias here. I had Clarions and Fries in my deck post-board that matchup, but that did not feel good. How many 3-mana sweepers do I need is a real question. I think I want at least 3 Thalias in here. Just logging in from work in Ontario to resub. They declared a state of emergency here today, so I get some PTO. Keep up the good work. Thanks for keeping me around, Risu. Stay safe in these crazy times. I'm not supposed to stream video over the work VPN, so the iPad stream is up on the desktop. Thanks for keeping me around, Waffle. Hope you're staying safe. Elenox, thanks for 11 months. I think I want at least 3 Thalia in here. What am I trimming? Let's get rid of a Flame Sweep. Yeah, like we want pressure and its disruption. Oh, there is a poll. Look at someone started a poll. Yeah, vote in the poll. Look at that. I forgot Twitch integrated polls. Look at that. Ini Gamatoya, thanks for the third of a year. Is 4 too many? Is 4 not? I feel like 4 might not be too many. I don't know what I'd cut though. You cannot select different styles for Thalia, which is unfortunate. Hey, it remembered the style I picked, though, so that's nice. 3/3 should be fine. Hey, Ziggy. Thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope you're staying safe in these crazy times. Sure. So again, I wasn't talking purely based on power level. I'm talking more from the perspective of the comparison of the cards where, like, you look at Nexus of Fate and Once Upon a Time, and you're like, which of these cards is more obviously like, that's not okay to print, don't do that? Yeah, I think that speaks volumes to how hard it was to evaluate Once Upon a Time, though. I will say this, Once Upon a Time really taught me personally whose deck building skills and card evaluation skills I should respect, because there were a lot of people who are very good mechanical Magic players that actually play the game well, who even in formats where Once was still legal for too long weren't playing 4 copies of Once Upon a Time in their decks. I feel like you should go through the last PT where Once was legal, and everyone who wasn't playing 4 Once, you should just, like, take their card evaluation opinions with a grain of salt from here on out. This is the real downside to Adanto Vanguard. It makes you hit okay every time. You never get to auto pass priority. Sure, I mean specifically people who were playing green decks without Once. Like, obviously, if you weren't playing a green deck, maybe you should consider splashing Once, but there were, like, green decks where people, yeah, it's like playing 2 Gataxian Probe. There were a lot of people who just weren't registering the maximum legal number of copies of it. I mean, probabilistically speaking, keeping a hand with Once is keeping a hand with a land. Unless you are on the draw and got Spell Pierced, in which case get wrecked.
Might be a bad idea.
Ugh. Ow. Ow.
I'll protect you.
Oh, I didn't need to pay life there, did I? No. I was gonna play this. Okay. I actually almost feel like we're okay here. So, like, I get to untap, and now we'll pay 4 here. We'll go Clarion double mode, Reckless Rage, Adanto Vanguard, clear Golos, attack for 6, gain 6. And then, like, I have Reckless Rage here to mow stuff down with, and I have Justice Strike to clear out the Uro when it comes back. I think restricted lists in paper formats don't make a lot of sense because they're hard to track for people. But I think in a mostly digital format like this, especially considering this is basically Magic Arena's vintage format, I think it could make sense to try restricted lists in this format. I would never want that in another paper Magic format, but I think here it's probably fine. We'll see them escape Uro here. Or they're just going to make a bunch of friends. Yep. Not worried about increasing variance. Man, I just got a lot of variance in it already. Let's just do a bunch of sweet stuff. Ooh, Baffling End's a great answer to Uro down the line. Not sure restricted is more confusing than legal and only best of 3. That's a really good point. Legal and only best of 3 has been a source of a lot of confusion. I think both Nexus of Fate and potentially Field of the Dead, if they feel that card's too good again, could be potential things worth discussing a restricted list for. Yeah, I think we're going to lose this game, but we had a small chance for a little bit because of Adanto Vanguard, at least. They have a bunch of spells in their hand. Pretty dead here. Alright, Bishop doesn't seem very good. I think Baffling End actually stays in to deal with Uro. I think Thalia's probably good here. Extra Sweepers seem fine. Extra Lyra seem fine. I think I like that. What do we think? Restricted means you can only play 1 per deck. Only Magic's vintage format currently has restricted cards in it. In general, they just ban things. You have a giant plane stuck on your screen, you should refresh because it's a bug with the browser overlay. Sure, let's draw red source. We played versus Mono Blue, yeah, number of times. Deck floats around the edges of the format. Alright, well. think we do this to stop them from playing Teferi next turn. Even though this attacks for more, this throws them off their game plan a little bit. It also keeps them off Growth Spiral if they have a tapped land, which is great. Do Historic exclusive cards have animations? You know? I don't know the answer to that offhand. Do any of them? I don't. I'm trying to think, is there one that I have a good example of? And I don't know if I do have a good example of that. So this puts them to 5, which means even if they go untapped land sweeper next turn, they die to these. Yeah, mid-range aggro, I agree, has really struggled in Magic in recent years. In many formats. I think I'm happy with how we boarded. Just run it back. Oh, Temple of Triumph. All right, chat, I believe. Now, this is one thing that is a scotch awkward about Thalia, is that Thalia does make our plan to Flame Sweep, or Clarion away their zombies later worse. I got back from voting to burn it. I want to say thanks for being here and helping spread the word about the importance of voting. I'm glad you're able to go out and do that and feel safe. Really, really disappointed that Illinois and many other states didn't extend remote voting with everything that's going on, because Christy, for instance, does not feel comfortable going out to go to the polls today. So she's not going to end up voting. We could have early voted, but we were always just planning on going, and then things got bad. And now she just wasn't able to. Babble, thanks for the 27 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I feel like I'm just supposed to pass here. I don't know. I feel like they're pretty, like, maybe I'm just supposed to jam, because, like, if I don't jam, I probably just lose to their inevitability. Christy is due June 20th, I believe. Oh, that's a good line. Yes. Yeah, that was 110% the line, JVL. I completely forgot that was an option, and now we're going to lose because of it. I should have just Clarion for lifelink and made a 4/4. It would add pressure to the table. It would have added pressure to the table while also giving us a 4/4, which would have drawn a card with the Shatter, and then I still would have had my 3/4 as a follow-up. Like, yeah, it's a good catch. Yeah, the hidden mode on Clarion, right? You can just lifelink it. That's a land that gives them some card selection here. Yep. So, probably going to pay 4 and sweep the board here. Crack them for 3. Gosh, if I'd have seen the line with the Clarion earlier, we'd probably be winning this game. It's a good pickup, especially with the Reckless Rage. Reckless Rage plus Feather could maybe let us keep this board in check. And attack through for lethal eventually. It's going to be hard to compete with the quality of their draws, though, when they get to scry 2 every turn. I agree, Beansy. I concur with you that not extending or changing remote voting options is a form of voter suppression in these polls for the elections that are going on today. People who are immunocompromised or older or are pregnant like my wife, their vote is, they are being discriminated against. I really don't think there's a good replacement for it. You're going to be just much worse against every... You're going to be much worse against every mid-range and control deck without Nexus of Fate. Alright. Boros Charm resolves. So they get to scry... They might scry 4 here. They might scry 2 twice. They have enough lands, so it makes them start scrying 2 at their upkeep as well. Bottoms up. Bottoms up. Double top. All right, so we're dead. Got it. Get it, got it. Good. I would not play Jace or Thalia's Oracle over the Nexus of Fate. I would just cut it and play another good card in the deck. Jace and Thalia's Oracle are not good in that slot because you have to actually draw them. Again, the reason why Nexus of Fate is good in that deck is because of its ability to not have to be drawn. When you mill it over, it goes back into your deck. We are not currently on the front page, no. Twitch does like a personalized front page for people, so I'm probably on like your personalized front page based on your account. All right, what you got?
I've got it.
We're always on my front page. I'm on the front page of the people who matter. Gosh, Uro is such a beating. That's true. I did put a stop because I forgot I was playing Hearthstone at the moment. Definitely forgot we were playing Hearthstone. I mean, I have a removal spell for Uro, but it's still very good because it gained them 6 life. It was like gain 6, draw 2. Adanto, Feather plus Rage and Adanto Vanguard, giving us some really good staying power here that we wouldn't have otherwise. They double topped. We're gonna get Teferi again. Could be another Uro as well. I think not killing Tef and hoping to just have lethal next turn is too bad against too many of their draws. So they shocked that in. So they... Yep. Yep. The opponent has 4 cards in their... Oh, they don't have enough to escape Uro back. That's a good call. I didn't think about that. We're actually in an okay spot. With them not having enough to escape Uro back just yet. Double top again. Dang it, Bobby. Just cast a Nexus again. Spin to win. Are we buried? Feels like we're buried. We tried. We tried. We got a lot of games in. I don't know. I'd be kind of surprised if this deck is good against field. I feel like we have a plan. I actually feel like the Field of the Dead matchup felt more competitive than I was expecting it to be. Feather plus Vanguard plus Rage gave us some real fight there. Kind of remembered why the Naya Feather deck is really reasonable against Field of the Dead. We ended up doing okay against Gruul. I don't know. I feel like this style of a little bit aggressively slanted mid-range deck, it just kind of had a tough shake in Magic in general since the printing of War of the Spark. And I kind of feel like that extends to Historic too. While it's definitely capable of winning games, and I think if I would have seen the Clarion line in that last game, we might have had a better shot. Yeah. When everything gets flowing, though, I feel like they just when one of their spells is Uro or Hydrate Craze, and they just have single cards that are just worth so many of our cards, it's just really hard to keep up with. I will say that cycle lands are actually a really nice inclusion in archetypes like this. They do smooth a little bit, which is nice, because decks like this really want to play a high land count, so that way they can get to their 4 and 5 drops consistently on curve. But at the same time, once you hit that 5 mana mark, you basically never want to draw another land again. And these cards, I could even see playing up to 4 of them total, because they help you hit your land drops early, but then also mean that you're not really flooding nearly as much in the mid to late game. How many red sources is this deck playing? We have 12, 13, 14, 15. Honestly, if you want to play this deck and you want it to be more competitive, someone mentioned Embercleave. There's a chance that just doing that is correct. If we'd have had Cleave on that Adanto Vanguard, we probably would have crunched through, right? Maybe trimming a couple of bishops and playing a couple of cleaves is fine. 15 red is a little bit low on casting it consistently, but you probably cast it by turns 4, 5, 6 enough that it's reasonable. Oh, daily deals. Remember if we checked yet. Let's see. Icon of Ancestry. Yeah, I'll probably play that at some point. It's worth the booster packs, worth the gems to me. Legend of the Keepers is an indie game I took a sponsored thing for, so we're going to play a little bit of that at the end of the stream today. Before we get into that segment, though, I'm going to hit a quick ad roll and get set up for the last Magic deck of the day. We are going to play, speaking of Cleave, we are going to head to Cleveland with some Rotting Regisaurs and some Rip Draws and some Regisaur Alphas here with some Jund Dinosaurs. So we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to give them some Rock'em Sock'em Dinos here. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.